What's happening, guys? Chris VA Travels here in Falmouth, Virginia, Stafford County, right across the Rappahannock from Fredericksburg, and about to take a tour of Belmont. Historic home. The original portion of the house was built back in the 1790s. It's the home of Geri Melchers, a famous American artist. So I'm going to take a tour of the house, take a tour of the studio, and pretty extensive grounds. There are plenty of outbuildings to take a look at, and also a trail that leads down the Rappahannock. So check this place out. Tickets are $12, let you know. The original portion of the building was just a 4/4 plan, so it was actually here. And the lady had told me this extension on this side was built in the 1850s. But pretty grand entrance, 4 Ionic columns. And yeah, nice wrought iron fence. Kind of have the Tudor Rose design kind of swirled up, going all around. Yeah, so all right, let me go ahead and check in. It's up here to the left. And this also serves as the Stafford County Visitor Center. Yeah, all these are add-ons. Kind of sort of halfway like an attic window right there. Have to ask about that. Oh, again, nice fence. But yeah, great gardens here as well. Gary lived here from 1916 until he passed away in 1932. Straight ahead, that's the visitor center. And we are at the very beginning of spring. You'll see a few things starting to bloom. Make my way over there. Made it into the visitor center, and before I get going, just wanted to give you a bio on Gary. He was born in Detroit. At the age of 17, he went to Dusseldorf, Germany to study painting. After 3 years, he moved to Paris to finish out his education, then eventually settling in Holland, where he began his career. His breakout is when he painted The Sermon, which gave him favorable attention at the 1886 Paris Salon. 1889, he and another painter became the first Americans to win a grand prize at the Paris Universal Exposition. World War I forced most American expats stateside, so he moved to New York, and then eventually, of course, moved to Falmouth, where he lived out his final years.
Work and a sincere desire to produce good pictures. Julius Garibaldi Melcher.
Just watched a 15-minute video on Gary and Belmont. Pretty informative. And I'm headed over to take the house tour. And we're meeting on the big porch right here. Ionic columns, Scamozzi capitals. Alright guys, made it inside. As you see, we're in the central hallway. And nice picture of Gary and Corinne in front of that gate outside, that iron gate. And have to check out the lock plates. Painting here wasn't done by Gary. As you can see, it's not his style. But painted by an unknown artist in 1626. It's of a 4-year-old, and we don't know who she is. You can imagine the gold really popped centuries ago after it was painted. You see pearls around the waist, a little bow on her chest, in that white laced Elizabethan collar that was popular at the time. And you'll see she shows up in these 2 old photographs. The one on the left with the cuckoo clock, that's in Holland, and the other's in Weimar, Germany. Lots of nice furniture in the house. Check out this inlay. This is called The Annunciation by American painter George Hitchcock. The story with this goes that Gary's sister had married into the Stroh brewing family. Yeah, so they had some money. They had an extensive art collection, and Gari had suggested they purchase this piece. So it stayed in the Stroh family hands for many years until the museum opened here when it was donated. Nice clock down here at the end of the hallway. And all the workings of the clock are up here in the head. And they say this thing worked up until about a year ago. Now we're in the parlor. Nice statue back here. Some nice dishes. Again, a lot of nice furniture. But this room was originally split in two. There was a men's and then a woman's parlor. But when the Melchers bought the house, they had the center wall taken out, had the sunroom added on the left. And you'll see a lot of light in this room. Secretary is from Holland, circa 1750, in the Rococo style. And it's a burl walnut veneer on oak. Painting back here in the nice frame. This is Sir Henry Dudley and his wife. It was painted by Gainsborough DuPont. Piano here isn't original. Corinne did play the piano, but it never touched this one. It was donated after they had owned the house. I had to pause and show you Corinne's macaw. His name's Polly. This giant painting is called Marketplace, and it's out of the Franz Snyder studio. The Melchers bought this about 10 years before moving into Belmont, and they purchased it up in New York at the Knickerbocker Art Gallery. Well, looks like this guy's trying to steal a pear. Basket of cherries, bowl of quince, basket of grapes, and it looks like this guy just got back from a hunting trip. You'll see he's got a hare slung over his shoulder, and you'll see his dog between the two of them. Of course, you've got your blue willow china back here. This is a linen press. It's Dutch, going back to the 1750s. And they think Corinne bought it just as a conversation piece. The Melchers needed lots of seating. They held plenty of parties, and you'll see some mismatched chairs. To the sides of the fireplace are mangle boards. These were popular in Northern Europe, and they went along with the linen press. You would place them on top of the cloth. When pressed down, they would leave an embroidered design on the clothing. This is an Atwater Kent radio. Looks like model 559. This is a painting of Gary, done in 1905 by his friend J.J. Shannon, and they think this was a wedding gift to the Melchers. And look, you can see the little Elizabethan girl in the background from the painting in the hallway. Another one of Gary, this one done by friend Fritz Strobens, and this was painted in the chapel where Gary had painted one of his most famous works, the Sermon. This is a perforated print made in France. You would put these on the windows so the light would shine through the little perforations. Here's one in action right here. This giant chiffreau they think is out of New York, veneered mahogany. And if you're wondering how they got it in here, it comes in 3 pieces. And you'll see in a moment they had to cut into the floorboard to make it fit. Made it upstairs. I'll pan around it and let you take a look at this bedroom. I will tell you that Corinne's older brother Leonard stayed in this room after Gary passed away. This bamboo tray table with his paints, this is where he painted From My Window. There's a painting down in the gallery overlooking downtown Falmouth. Oh, and this is actually the master bedroom, and this is the room that Gary passed away in 1932. This table is from the 1680s. It's Jacobean oak, and it was purchased over in Holland. Good display of dishes right here, and you'll see 2 Dutch tiles. And I remember seeing these up in New York. They were in all the old Knickerbocker houses, and they're always purple or blue. Mirror and washstand over here are from 1835. A couple nice wash bowls. This slipper chair is American and it's from 1870. Desk is late Empire, 1860, mahogany with mahogany veneer, fold-out worktop with fitted interior and scrolled legs. And the bed is America, Mid-Atlantic States, Gothic Revival, circa 1845. These benches they think are out of Holland, hand-built and hand-painted. And check out these wooden shoes, from Holland of course, sitting on this prayer rug. Alright, we're in the final bedroom, and I can tell you these beds were designed in Weimar, Germany. This blanket chest is from Germany, Baroque, it's oak, has an ebony veneer, and check this out, it's circa 1650. This nightstand is French, with its pie crust top and slipper feet. It's circa 1760. Sun's kind of right on top of it, so maybe not the best angle, but I'm glad I came early spring because in another month from now, these leaves all sprout out. Check out this eagle. Geri Melcher's home, Belmont. Yeah, it's on the register. Pretty cool. Let me walk around. I believe this is a cistern. And yeah, tour group about to go in there. Oh, interesting. Just some cedar tiles. Oh, this is a spring house. Well house or spring house, it says. So this originally, yeah, was a well house going back to 1860. Owned by the Joseph Ficklin. And he owned a mill down by the Rappahannock. Right by the bridge, I believe. Nice stone wall, and I'm wondering if these stones came off the quarry off the river. But let me walk around the building, see what's on the other side. Here we go, guys, walking into his studio. This is the studio he painted in, and you'll see this giant north-facing window. He liked to paint by natural light. And yeah, there's no electricity in this building until the 1970s when Mary Washington took it over. This cigar store Indian was sculpted by his father. It was originally painted. And pretty good detail, you'll see. And here it is. His name is Captain Jack. And the wood was from the mast of a ship. Okay, so he's got a little tomahawk right there. That's Gary. Oh, earrings on this. Eyes are still white. And his father also sculpted this egg and dart pattern across the top. Again, great detail. 3 fish right there. Little clock. Couple cherubs. And this is the Italian model, 1882. And this winter landscape up here, he painted when he was 16 years old. That's pretty good. For only being 16. I don't have any information on this chair. But yeah, this is his second most famous piece right here. The Choir Master. And almost looks like a photo. And you'll see the girl, she stands out. And this was done 1888 until 1891. Palestina. Alright. Self-portrait over here, 1890. There he is as a young man. And these were painted by Fritz Stobintz. Really old piece of wood up there. Don't know what that is. Over here, here's the interior of the studio in Holland, 1905 to 1910. Oh, and he collected frames. All of his artwork are in really nice frames. I wonder if his father sculpted that. I don't know. Really old wicker chair. You can tell he did some painting in that. And model of a hand. Light. Gari Melchers designed. Stone studio, included a large window. Okay, yeah, I went over that. Again, yeah, really old wicker chair. And the Brabant girl from 1932. He died in 1932. And another big armoire over here. There's a mohawk right there, or maybe a Mohican. Probably from up in New York. Old trunk right here. And here's Uncle Jim from 1918. And there's Uncle Jim. I believe she had said he didn't paint this one, but he painted the one to the left. This is pretty similar to the sermon, or I'm sorry, the choir master. And he would have his subjects stand on the little platform right there. The fencer. And he has a lot of really big pieces. And this is from 1895. Really old fencing mask. Yeah, you'll see it right there. Again, don't know anything about this chair. There's a battleship hanging from the ceiling. Those skates. The Dutch cupboard. Right here, this is called In Holland. Very colorful, very big. Again, nice frame, egg and dark pattern frame. And these women are, looks like they're communicating, or maybe in the middle of, she's telling her something, I don't know. But here's the original picture, pre-windmill. And it wasn't as colorful. It wasn't black and white. It's just a black and white photo, but the original wasn't as colorful as that one. All right, guys, going to browse the art gallery, and this section is all Geri's work. This is called House Under the Trees, circa 1908, and it's a house in Holland. It's a home of the Melchers' friends, the Hitchcocks. This is called The Bride from 1903, and probably what's most impressive is this frame. Mother and Child with Orange, circa 1895. Geri's reputation is much associated with the theme of motherhood. This is simply called the China Closet, painted in 1900. The Brabant Bride, painted late in his career, 1929, and had painted this on a trip he had taken back to Holland. Another impressive frame. Geri painted this himself. The Open Door, painted in 1910. A pretty large painting. It makes you feel like you're part of the scene. Here's a painting of Corinne, 1905. And to tell you, she was a Baltimore art student. Geri met her on a trip to Europe in 1902, persuaded her to come study in Holland. After a courtship, they got married a year later. In the Studio, painted 1912, and they say this is kind of the high point of his career, and it shows Geri painting a businessman Hugo Reisinger. He took a lot of inspiration from Falmouth, doing many paintings of his house and the neighborhood. Also has paintings of some of the buildings in Fredericksburg. Another painting of Corinne. This was done here in the house, 1919, and she had a talent for needlework and gardening. This was painted by Corinne, 1930. A painting, of course, of Geri in front of his easel. In the background, you'll see a mirror reflecting the subject he's painting. This is a painting of Fanny, or possibly her sister, the lady that lived next door, in front of a very colorful flower display. Photo gallery from that Frances Benjamin Johnston, and she was one of the first prominent female American photographers. These are some photos she took in the late 1920s. And she also took many photos of Falmouth and Chatham Manor. Large painting under glass. It was painted by Connie. It's called From the Dune Top. The date is unknown, but just a panoramic scene of Holland. Again, nice stone wall, but there's some daffodils over there. Those daffodils pop early. They're kind of like pretty weeds. You'll find them just growing everywhere. Okay, yeah, pavilion over here. This is 2006, so yeah, they have events, weddings, and whatnot. Let me make my way over to this kind of gazebo over here. Oh yeah. Rappahannock down there looks good, and I'll walk the trail in a bit. But yeah, as I said, the house goes back to the 1790s, and it was originally owned by the Horner and Voss families, and then it was purchased by Susanna Fitzhugh Knox. And anybody, millstone right here, anybody from the Fredericksburg area might remember the old Kenmore Inn off Princess Anne Street. I think it got bought out. It's now like the Iron Horse Inn. But yeah, she's the grandmother of the Thomas Fitzhugh Knox, who ran the inn during the Civil War. So a little bit of Fredericksburg history. So this is a summer house going back to 1932. Okay, yeah, and Corinne, his wife, would have just little gatherings out here. She would have a table that would serve 8 people at one time. And you can imagine opening these windows, getting a kind of a cross breeze going. Another millstone down there. Yeah, so great place to hang out. Open these, like I say, you could listen to the river. Take a look at some of these outbuildings, and it looks like there's some farm equipment laid out up here. Today's Thursday. I thought there might not be many people here if I came during a weekday, but school's out this week. I didn't think about that, so yeah, there's a few kids running around. A little busier than I thought it would be, but pretty gnarly tree right here. This is probably going to give some information. We're in the this is the back of the visitor center. Stone building with these slate tiles. Okay, so a working farm and some pretty old horseshoes. This is a mule shoe right here. Medium mule shoe. Horseshoe. Horses have wider feet apparently. You even have them for an ox. This is a disc harrow. Interesting. So pretty decent sized farm if you, hay rake over here. Pretty decent sized farm if you have equipment like this laying around. Oh, well pruned tree right here. Let's see what this says. Picture here from the 1920s, and it says the centerpiece of their modest farm was the dairy operation. They had a small herd of Guernsey cows, Guernsey. The Loudon Machinery Company out of Fairfield, Iowa. And this is a Loudon tilting manger, M-A-N-G-E-R. Interesting. Looks like it was patented in 1916. Attack on Secession batteries at Aquia Creek. That's just a little north of here. That would be June 1st, 1861. And looks like there was another skirmish April 17th until 18th, 1862. Okay, John Washington worked over at the Farmers Bank there off Princess Anne Street in Fredericksburg. It's now the Foodie restaurant. But he led a mass exodus. 10,000 slaves crossed the Rappahannock, escaped, went up to Aquia Harbor. Over here is going to be the caretaker's house. And I believe it was a slave quarters also before that. Original portion was built 1800. And yeah, it was originally a slave quarters. And back when Susanna Knox owned the property, there were 4 slaves over the age of 12 listed on the property. That number grew to 27 in 1850 when Joseph Ficklin owned the property. It was damaged during the Civil War. After that, it became the paid staff's quarters. And let's see down here, it says Robert and Rachel Watts, ages 75 and 66, were occupants. And they were recorded B as black in the census. They were domestic servants. And then 1916, Geri Melchers bought the property, fixed it up. He added the porch on the side. There was a porch on the front as well, and this Washington Street didn't cut as deep, so I guess you had more room out front. But I see it chained up, so I can't really get any closer. Oh, all right, so yeah, this would be the cow barn. And Corinne, I can tell you, she used to place her cattle into shows and win prizes. And let me take a peek in here. This is 1921. Oh, all right. Freaked me out for a second. Oh, all right. So there's that pen right there that I looked at earlier. Cool. Oh, there he is eating out of it right there. Just see what this is. Okay. All right, well, back of the barn. Nice place to eat right here. A little chicken coop, I guess, right there. All right, take a look at the chicken coop. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is a smokehouse. Preserving meat. There's Connie right there, 1920. And the little write-up just talks about how they salted and cured the meat. Obviously it would have been hanging up here from the rafters. But yeah, kind of empty now. Pretty cool. Okay, so just stable over here. Oh, it says private. These are just staff offices. All right, so here's the back of the house, and as I said before, 1790s, this portion right here, to just to the end of the portico right there was the original portion. That was added, that's 1850s. And I don't know the dates, but these are obviously add-ons. Kind of a random window right there, random window right there. Oh, cool. Double portico. Again, ionic columns. And the Scamozzi crowns. And you'll see right there, okay, so it looks like the other add-ons were 1916, obviously, when Gary purchased the house. 1925. Alright, so storm cellar right there. Pretty tall windows. Pretty cool surround right there. Okay, this says domestic quarters and kitchen. Mid-19th century. Okay, third floor and porches 1920s. And art classroom in there. Okay, cool. Alright, already seen the other side. Let me look at this statue over here. Cool sunroom right here. I don't remember, did I see that when I was on the inside? I don't think she showed me that room. Oh, kind of little hidden kind of oval oxide type window. And almost like a Palladian style window right there. Yeah, so sundial up there. There's a good picture. Alright, closer look at Cupid over here. Was he holding something in his hand at one time? I don't know. Little fat baby. It looks like it's pretty old. Alright, let me walk this little path. Great view of Falmouth and Fredericksburg. These trees weren't there. Walk down and take a closer look at these gates. Oh, hidden marker right here. Photo again of the staircase by that Francis Benjamin Johnston, 1928. And the staircase goes back to 1850 when Joseph Ficklin owned the house. It was fabricated in Philadelphia. Here they are cleaning the railing, about to put on a fresh coat of paint. And this would be at Stokes of England Blacksmiths. Yeah, here we are. I have to show off the staircase one more time. And yeah, they really did fix this up. When I was here several years ago, this thing was pretty rusted out. So, yeah. Looks nice now. A little boot scraper right there. But let me walk down and take a look at these two gates. And there's another gate over there. Yeah, that's really old stone, you can tell. And I guess there would have been some sort of walk up right here. But yeah, pretty impressive entrance. There it is, Belmont with all of its attachments. There's kind of a vase on each side. And I don't know if there's anything too special to look at down here, but Yeah, so we're at the intersection of Ingleside and Washington Street. Oh, so here are the hours, 10 until 5. Oh yeah, looks good there. Sun's hitting it great. And here's the main entrance. All right, I'm gonna stop and take a picture. Okay, let me go back up, and there's another gate off to the right. Yeah, I just wanted to walk over here. This looks like it'd be a good picture. Okay, no bicycles beyond this point. Old mossed over stone. Take a closer look at this fence. Closer look at the design. Yeah, that's very old. I guess you could shimmy through there if you wanted to. All right, side entrance over here. Yeah, a couple lions with shields. Pretty well worn, mossed over. Big cedar right here providing some shade. Yeah, you could imagine there was a gate here at one time. Yeah. What is this over here? Geri Melcher's home and studio, overlooking the falls of the Rappahannock River. Little bird bath over here, kind of some bellflowers starting to bloom. The Rappahannock River overlook, growth path, 1931. Use caution. Yeah, pop an ankle. Oh, there's a couple plaques down there. Oh, cool! Another one of these Captain John Smith markers. And yeah, this is the spot where he had placed an X back in 1608. He had come up the Rappahannock looking for the, that tree is about to pop too. Came up the Rappahannock looking for the Westward Passage, had to stop because of the falls. Got out, journeyed about a 3-mile radius, and he would place a little X's on some of the places. I just knocked this off. Okay, on the other side to the cross hath been discovered AD 1608. Okay, so this is pretty much exactly like the one I saw on the other side of the river. Oh, plenty of daffodils down here. Yeah, they're all around, like I say, pretty weeds, pretty much. And this probably is going to be talking about John Smith, I bet. Close-up of John Smith's famous map going back to 1612. Here we are, Belmont, and looks like the Manahawks were nearby. This is a Halifax projectile point, dates back to the Middle Archaic period, 3500 to 2500 BC. This is a biface. The larger object may have been attached to a wood handle and used as an axe, and it was used to cut and scrape materials such as animal skins and plants. So yeah, the plaque, it's talking about John Smith's early explorations and about how he placed those Maltese crosses everywhere. It talks also about how the falls were used to power mills back in the 1700s, and apparently Joseph Fickland owned several mills along the falls. I was out here several years ago, and there's a spring down here. I believe maybe an ice house also. All right, so I don't think I've actually seen an ice pond, but it makes sense, I guess, because you had the running water right there. They just built kind of a runoff where the water would, I guess, sit still and freeze easier. And you guys are familiar with an ice house. When the water would freeze, they would saw out little blocks, take it to the ice house, kind of store it in sawdust, hay, and then they would store it underground. It would be about 15, 18 feet underground. And then in the spring and summer, you would have ice. So, was this maybe the pond right here? This is obviously newer stone. Okay, pretty neat. Those stones probably go back a couple centuries, but yeah, it still said up through the 1920s, after Gary had purchased the property, they were still using ice houses. I guess electricity obviously was around, but you just didn't have refrigerators, I guess. So you would just have an ice box, and you would put the little blocks in there to keep stuff cold, milk and whatnot. All right, so the back of the studio. Yeah, they cut that thing back, and I'm sure it would have ended up falling, being on the side of this hill, as heavy as it would have been. All right, I need to watch my step. There's a lot of roots around here. Daffodils. You'll just see them randomly throughout. Like I say, well, these may have been terraces possibly going down to this little creek, I don't know, but yeah, you'll just see these things though, just kind of growing randomly everywhere. A lot of ivy. Map I grabbed back at the visitor center, and we're on the river overlook loops. Okay, up. More daffodils. Alright, we've seen enough of those. Definitely starting to warm up. It was 35 when I left the house this morning, and I feel like it might be 60 now. A tad bit of a difficulty. I don't know if I call it difficult, but there's a little bit more to it right here. A little short hill, and it's very rooty for anybody thinking about walking it. Oh, all right. I'm going to keep going this way because Like I say, I know there's a spring somewhere around here. And I think there's another spring house out here. Oh, all right, so it is still here. Yeah, that's that second kind of spring house, well house I was talking about. Check out the roots on this. Wow. Just kind of eroded away, I guess. Yeah, on both sides. Let me take a look at this. I think this might be a pump house, and it would pump, if I remember correctly. Bridge over there. Water supply methods at Belmont. Okay, so yeah, 1921 pump house. And in green, we've got the 1860 Ficklin water supply. Yeah, so it would come down from the spring. Looks like going to this kind of ram, be pumped up into this. What is this? Oh, yeah, until to the well house. And then the newer Gari Melchers, the pump house up into the cistern, 1921. Interesting. All right, so I learned a little bit about water rams going back to 1772 in England. Here it is. All right, so it looks like water maybe came in from the spring right there. And obviously there'd be water pooled all around. Is that where that water ram sat? I'm not sure. Well, it just kind of looks like a shed and doesn't look like there's anything in there. Yeah. All right, probably some water underneath there. But yeah. Well, this trail looks like it's pretty well worn, well maintained, so maybe there's something down here. And I see some sort of building up on the hill. It looks more modern. But, all right, we're now on the green trail. There's a flag up there. I don't know if that's somebody's backyard. It says private property in big orange sign. So, yeah, I guess it's nothing we'll be going to. Okay, I think it's down here. All right, the spring. And I don't know how the spring would go from here. Oh, probably this ditch right here. Yeah, the spring, you probably can't see it, but we'll get to it. And you can tell this water was flowing pretty good as deep as this cut is. Yeah, flowing pretty decent. And you can tell we're kind of a little bit of an elevation. But yeah, let me go up and take a closer look. Here it is, the spring. Oh, there's another over there, I guess. Yeah, we're on the spring loop right now. And so I guess not much is going on nowadays, but I guess it went down there and cut in. But that creek goes from all the way down there, so I don't know. But that's pretty wet. Yeah, I don't think I could, I guess there's something maybe to look at over there, but I'm not going to lift that. All right. Take a look at the other one. Old block right here. A little path wraps around to it. And kind of same deal right there, right underneath this giant tree. A lot of gnarly roots around here. And yes, same deal, but a little bit smaller. I don't see a little spigot coming out on this side though, so not much activity over here, but that side's pretty wet. Yeah, roots all around that thing. And we've got a plane going overhead. So I'm gonna walk up here and there's gonna be a small little graveyard. The trail on this spring loop's a little bit nicer though. Not as many roots. Oh, yeah. A couple houses up there on the ridge. That's what I figured. Alright, so the back of apartments, maybe it looks like over there. And, okay, wire fence right there. Okay. So, going down and around. Big old tree right there. Okay, so we're wrapping around, and that's the home of the Fanny. African-American lady lived in that house for, I believe it was 94 years. I believe 1910 until 2004 when she passed away. And I walked around it when I made my Falmouth video a while back. I thought maybe the trail was headed that way, so I don't know if I'll be taking a look at it, but if you're in the area, you can pull off, stop, walk around. There's a real old outhouse behind it. And years ago, they had it open for tours, but I think that was like 10, 15 years ago. Looks good with the light cutting through it. Yeah, this is a pretty good nature trail. Probably looks real good at golden hour, I guess, when the sun is first coming up and when it's setting. Just all the shadows wrapping across. Okay, and yet up here is going to be the little graveyard. And I believe Joseph Ficklin's wife and child are buried here, but I'm going to find out here in a minute. Oh, there he is right there, Joseph Ficklin. Joseph was a bachelor until the age of 43, and that would be in 1843 where he married Ellen. She was young. And yeah, this is their child, the smaller grave. Alright, so yeah, obviously this is new. And pretty sad, only lived 3 months. Ella. And her mother, Ellen, died just a year later. She was only 22 years old. Yeah. She died the 2nd of June, 1845, in the 22nd year of her age. Okay. Nice burial site on this little ridge. Oh yeah, pump house down there. Okay. Oh, and I see another sign over there. Let me see what that says. Alright. Coming up on the back of the house. And just a random sign. There's a picnic table way over there. And yeah, I guess you could walk over to Fanny's house just right outside the exit. Same map I have in my pocket. I'd say kind of the same write-up over here. Yeah, talking about how Connie had operated a small farm here up until 1952. That's when the last cow and calf were sold off. It says since 2000, staff and volunteers have cleared away tangled undergrowth to restore open woods. Well, they did a good job. Pretty clean paths out there. All right, guys, getting out of here. That's it for Belmont, home of American artist Geri Melchers. $12, good deal. A lot of bang for your buck. I got to tour the inside of the house, the grounds, the trails. I got to tour his art studio, so good deal. Anyway, getting out of here, as always, like and subscribe. See you guys on the next one.